Well, I think something really big that's different is Donald Trump, because in 2016, he was running as an outsider. He said, look, I don't have 50 years of political baggage. I'm not paying back favors. I'm an outsider. I'm a businessman. I know how to balance a budget. I know how to cut spending. And I know how to, get stuff done, basically. And I'll bring the troops home. And so that's why the polls got it wrong, because people voted for him who had never voted or who hadn't voted for 20 years. And so now it's 4 years later, and we can see that he's acted pretty much like all the professional politicians, that he's increased the deficit, he's increased the debt, still hasn't brought the troops home. So now I think that maybe people will say, maybe Republicans are beyond hope.
Dave Rubin, and this is the Rubin Report. As always, guys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click that pesky notification bell. And joining me today is a senior lecturer in psychology at Clemson University and Libertarian presidential candidate, Jo Jorgensen. Welcome to the Rubin Report.
Oh, so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you, and I know for sure that my audience is thrilled to have you because I've received roughly 4 billion tweets saying, why haven't you had Jo Jorgensen on? So for the record, we have been trying to make this happen for a while, and we finally did make it happen. We weren't avoiding you, and you were not avoiding us. Is that fair to say?
Okay, you just couldn't catch up to the bus, huh? Back there chasing my bus.
You got a super powered bus over there. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk to you about. And I think you know a bit about my sort of political evolution and probably most of my political stances. You may not know that I actually did vote for the Libertarian candidate in the last election. I did vote for Gary Johnson. I had Gary Johnson on my show. I like Gary Johnson. I don't think he was, the strongest Libertarian candidate in a year that there was a moment for it. So I guess my first question that'll probably set up everything else is, if it didn't work in 2016 when so many people were frustrated, what is different this time? Why should the Libertarians have hope this time?
Well, I think something really big that's different is Donald Trump, because in 2016, he was running as an outsider. He said, look, I don't have 50 years of political baggage. I'm not paying back favors. I'm an outsider. I'm a businessman. I know how to balance a budget. I know how to cut spending. And I know how to, get stuff done, basically. And I'll bring the troops home. And so that's why the polls got it wrong, because people voted for him who had never voted or who hadn't voted for 20 years. And so now it's 4 years later, and we can see that he's acted pretty much like all the professional politicians, that he's increased the deficit, he's increased the debt, still hasn't brought the troops home. So now I think that maybe people will say, maybe Republicans are beyond hope. Now, libertarians have known that Republicans are beyond hope since 1971, and that's why the party was formed after Richard Nixon stopped acting like a Republican. But maybe now the Republican voters, and let me say, there are many fine Republican voters who want smaller government. It's the Republican politicians who aren't giving it to them. And so maybe after having an outsider come in, a businessman who supposedly can balance a budget, maybe they'll say, it's time for a real outsider.
So what would you say to the conservatives or the Republicans who want smaller government, they want lower taxes, and they're looking and they're going, okay, Trump did cut some taxes, he got rid of some regulation, we're clearly not going into other wars at the moment, we're bringing troops home, that are basically looking at that stuff and going, hey, Trump did give us a bunch of the stuff that we want. Yes, is the budget going up? Yeah, but the deficit going up? Yeah, but it always seems to go up. Do you think he's done anything right from a libertarian perspective?
Well, he has cut some regulations. However, I'd like to point out that a tax cut is also going to be possibly an increase in spending if they don't do anything to make that up. So again, the bottom
the deficits
line
are going up either way, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The bottom line is spending's going up, and that's what counts. Even if we're not paying for it this year, we'll be paying for it next year, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And that's what matters.
Are you constantly amazed as a libertarian that telling people we want you to keep more of your money is not more of a winning ticket? I mean, I think when people really hear it, if you bash them over the head with it over and over and over again, and you're like, yeah, we want you to have your money, not them, I think they do get it. But it seems like it's such an easy sale, and yet for some reason, people just don't understand it or don't absorb it.
Yes, well, what really frustrates me are people like Bill Gates or Oprah Winfrey who say, yeah, the government doesn't take enough of my money, tax me more. But look at what Bill Gates does. He starts the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, does, good work. And Oprah Winfrey opens up her own school, right, over in Africa. Well, if they think that the government can do a better job than they can, why are they starting their own foundations? Why not simply turn all of that money over to the federal government? And so I think that actions speak louder than words. And if even they aren't turning their money over, I think that that should send a message to everybody else that, hey, the government doesn't do a good job. I can't think of much that the government does a better job than the private sector. And I think that Bill Gates and Oprah Winfrey and all these other liberals who want bigger government, I think that they're just proving our point for us.
So what do you think is going on in their heads there? Is it misguidedness, or is it guilt, or is it that they know that the machine and the media will like them more if they take these positions?
I'm hoping it's ignorance, the true sense of the word ignorance, because a lot of people just don't understand how things work. And that's one of the biggest compliments that I get from people, non-libertarian friends after they meet me. They say, you know what? I read the news differently now. I look at things differently now. They don't, for instance, yeah, we cut taxes. Okay, what about spending? So you can look at things in a superficial way and think things are going great without the understanding or the underlying what's going on beneath it all.
Yeah. Does the thing that frustrates you the most have anything to do with the sort of simplistic way we look at politics, where, half of the country seems to think that if you tell them they're getting something for free, they seem to think it actually is free, and combating that notion is almost impossible. You say free healthcare, you say free education, free money now, literally free money. It's like that combating, oh, but you do have to pay for it. That's just not what we do publicly very well.
Yes, I would have thought that with the Obama phone. Remember those?
Yeah.
How basically what Obama's going to reach into his back pocket and buy everybody a phone. And that's what I've been telling everybody about these $1,200 checks that they're getting, is that money is coming from somewhere. And I know that, supposedly there was a holdup because Donald Trump wanted his name written on the actual check. Well, I don't think that that check is coming from his back pocket or his private checking account. It's coming from us. So somehow they give us money and make it seem like it's Santa Claus or something. But what's frustrating is that they take our taxes out, our income taxes, so that we get a tax refund every year after April. And so it looks like we're getting something. And I wish they had never started that practice. I don't think we'd be where we are now if people actually had to feel the pain. And right now, people feel the pain when they're teenagers, and then they quickly forget. So many times I hear about somebody's, friend's kid who goes to work. And like, wait a minute, I worked 20 hours this week. Where's this money going? And it's like, well, welcome to the world of being an adult. Welcome to the world of taxes. And so it feels painful then, but by the time you're 30, 40 years old and it's grown and grown, you've kind of forgotten about it. So
if you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist, all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.